here. I'm legit at the table.
Miss, fuck you.
Hello all, and welcome to the Deep 2 NBA podcast 4-Man Weave. I'm friend of the pod Alessio, here with Dante, Sean, Lucas, and Marco as always. And if you like listening to a podcast with two white guys, God, you're going to love this episode.
This is the Caucasian part.
How's your week been, Lucas?
It's been pretty good. Happy 3 years, Dante and Sean. Is this episode 151? 152.
Wow, I'm so glad you got us on for the big one.
Nah, because that's three off what you should have been if you had an episode every week, like you promised in the first episode of the Deep 2 podcast. Go on.
I'd say a little higher. It'd be a little higher if they had one every week.
Yeah, it'd be 155, wouldn't it?
Yeah, something like that.
No, we took like a month off.
But anyway, so what I was saying...
Is this your near-death experience?
is
What?
I listened to the first ever episode of the Deep 2 podcast, as it was called.
Really?
Back in the day. Yeah.
Oh,
that was my fault. I forgot to put the NBA in.
And it's just a bit... listening to it is a bit like being in one of those dreams where you're in your house and it's not your house. Like, Sean's, being like, another great segue. Dante's being very cautious. But you open the podcast with, welcome to the Deep 2 podcast. My name's Sean, and I'm here with the one and only Dante. And it's just like fucking getting punched in the head. Not hearing Boff and Mr. Boff Harley immediately afterwards.
When do you reckon that came in?
I don't know. I'll have to find out. I only got 3 episodes in today.
Spoiler alert.
No, I listened.
Well, they were half an hour back in the day, so you can really punch him out.
Yeah. I listened to the first episode as well today. It was actually fucking a bit weird.
Yeah.
It was a bit crazy. Like they could honestly have recorded it tomorrow and I would believe it.
Yeah.
But I digress.
Yeah, what does that mean?
Like you guys haven't changed at all.
Oh, that's
In a bad way.
That seems bad.
I feel like you're more comfortable.
Yeah.
You're more comfortable in your opinions as well.
Yeah.
And also you just say, Dante Bob and Mr. Bob.
I don't know if I have the courage to go back and listen to it.
No, it's good. It's really good.
Yeah.
Well, see, maybe it is for you guys and stuff, but Mum, that's the sound of a podcast starting. Mum said that we should go back and listen. I'm like, Mum, I'll get the heebie-jeebies. And then she goes, oh, why don't you and Dante sit down and listen to it? I'm like, oh, I've never listened to a podcast with someone.
Yeah, I love listening to a podcast with my mates.
I don't want to listen to a podcast with my one friend who is the other friend in the podcast. That would be extremely weird. Talk about a house within a house. So, yeah, I'll just have to take your word for it. That's weird. And, hey, let's fingers crossed something happens in episode 4.
Maybe you switch up the formula a little bit. Probably not. Anyway, Lucas.
Thanks for having me on. Well, I remember listening to a couple of weeks ago when Dante had a near-death experience, and then Sean, did you share a near-death experience?
No, I asked him for another one. I don't do enough.
I don't do near-death experiences.
I mean, every day we drive on St. George's Road, we put our fate in our hands.
Yeah.
Or in other hands.
So, the year is 2019, and I am in Cuba. And we're staying with this, how do you say it? Psycho. And she's like...
Delicately put.
Tomorrow we will go to Vinales. And Vinales is the place... I feel like we had seen Vinales like that after pronouncing it like her. But I digress. We go to the Vinales, which is where they make... Cigars, and I think they make a special sort of rum there, and we're like, yeah, sick, let's go to the Vinales tomorrow, sounds good. But the night before we go out dancing, which was a bit of a blast, but then we got back in at about 3, and we got up at like 7 or 8 to go to the Vinales, and I did not want to go, even a little bit.
Sounds like me on Sunday morning, mate.
And so I'm like, okay, well, fuck, I'm going to the Vinales. And I've done probably 4 poos until that point of the day. First hour of the day, nothing has gone in and plenty is coming out. And we get to the Vinales, the entry, and there's horses there.
Wow.
And she's like, oh, we've all got a horse. And I was like, I don't want to ride a horse right now, more than usual. So I go to take another poo, and there's a skink on the other side of the door, which is funny because that's also what came out of me. It was just like little... Yes?
I don't understand that at all.
Yeah, what's a skink?
Just like a skink, like a little
little lizards.
Yeah.
Ah, true.
And that's what was on the bulb. It was like chicken satay looking type thing.
Oh, you eat them. Oh, it's like a snack.
Yeah, but
Not what came out of him.
reverse
Yeah,
eating. And so each horse picks a rider, and obviously the alpha picked me. And this horse is just like, on the whole walk, it stops like 20 to 30 times to eat. And like anytime another horse tries to go to the front of the pack, mine's just run like jogs up and like no, we are following me. And we get to the end where we're like doing all this like, where we're gonna go and actually roll a cigar or some bullshit, and everyone's going to park their horses, and that's to the right, and to the left is an open field. And my horse just fucking hammers it. And I'm like going as faster than I've ever gone. And I was like, I might actually die right now. Because I was like, I pulled back on the horse to stop it and it didn't listen. And like I pulled back and it just started like biting and like taking the thing from me. And just kept running faster and faster and faster. And I was like, man, if this thing bucks me off, I'm going to just like break every bone in my body and never ever breathe again. And it kept going for like maybe 100 meters. And then this guy comes from this, I don't know why this guy was there, but there was just like this random structure and he's just sitting outside of it. And he was like, where are you from, my friend? And I was like, Australia. Can you help? And he comes down and he walks down. In my mind, I'm like, can you run? And he comes down and he's just like, get off the horse. And then he starts looking at the horse, just like smacking it in the face and shit.
Oh my god!
And then they're like, okay, you... And then like the guy who was leading us comes and rides down and he's like, what does he say? Oh, he's like, you go back to the group, I'll take care of the horse. And like, they definitely abused this horse. And then they took it back to park. And then we do all the activities. And I'm like, I don't want to get back on that horse, but that was my near-death experience. I was like, full on, I was like, I might get fucking kicked off this horse and die.
Did you have to get back on the horse?
Yeah.
Wow. You always do.
Yeah.
How was the Vinales, but?
Yeah, it was all right. We had this rum that they only make 1,000 bottles a year and then give it to other politicians as like a gift. Cuba's kind of weird. Cuba's definitely well, no one from Cuba's listening, but it's really interesting.
Check the stats.
Yeah,
They're opening up. You know? It's a different era.
It's definitely the most different place I've ever been in my life, and I
Is
never
that
died.
the one that's like stuck in the 50s?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Their views as well.
Jeez, you wish.
Yeah, sorry about Saturday.
There it is.
Yeah, well, we have no listeners in Cuba.
Any listeners in the Caribbean and South Central America?
No, it's mostly Australia, United States, Canada, Ireland, and the United
Finland?
Jeez.
Yeah.
Surely you're all over.
Yeah.
There's always one from Finland.
Yeah, we got one from Finland.
Yeah.
Israel?
Oh,
Hey,
Oh, yeah, that's a real condolence if that's it.
the Finnish listener, turn your VPN off.
That's a finisher. Yeah, like, awesome story, but I feel like Dante's was more dangerous.
I was on a fucking animal.
Think about.
Let's pause.
Though.
You
Yeah.
stop talking for a second. I was in a country, the horse didn't even speak English. I was on a fucking beast. And I did mention that it was an alpha, hence why it picked me. And it was going... This was not a fucking tourism horse. This was like a fucking thoroughbred, never gonna be glued type horse. This was like Black Caviar's gonna finish second to this horse type horse. And Dante's was more scary because he had to fucking balance on a fucking beam. I was on an animal.
yeah, but I feel like you get bucked off the horse, your chances of survival are like 50-50 maybe. Dante's were like, if he fell...
Ned told me that he knows someone who became a quadriplegic
Yeah.
from falling off a roof.
Oh, yeah.
And
Anyway,
that never happens to
I
horse
wasn't
riders.
feeling
Yeah, I know someone who became a quadriplegic from getting kicked off a horse in Cuba. So I guess it's apples and oranges, isn't it?
I wasn't feeling competitive about whose near-death experience was more near-death until you...
Him.
you.
Not let him get in between
I
us.
was on your side. That sounds dangerous.
It was,
It
dude.
sounds very dangerous. I'm validating that the danger in that experience.
Thanks, man.
You don't
Yeah.
need to worry about anything from
It
me.
was awesome. How are the cigars?
Not as good as you'd think.
Overrated.
Like,
Overrated.
so much smoking has to get done to finish one of
And you
those.
can't swallow it, yeah?
Nah, definitely not.
Yeah, not much going on there. Should we talk about basketball or we got any more stories to smash out?
You can move on to the basketball.
Yeah.
This is a freaking basketball point.
Yeah.
After all.
I mean, it is a freaking basketball podcast, and we're up to the final four teams. We're in the conference finals, but Not a lot is happening in the conference finals. We just say this is one of the most boring conference finals we've had in recent memory. I'm not too bummed about it because, you know, if my team finishes in 4 games, for the people listening to the audio-only podcast, Dante was mocking me. But I'll start with Boston-Miami. I was really settling in front of the TV today to watch this game because if Boston loses...
Were you supposed to be working?
Don't say that on the podcast. I watched it after work because you guys came over 2 hours later. Fucking paper trails, huh? The Miami Heat had a chance to go up 3-1, which is something that you never see eclipsed ever in your whole basketball watching history. And the Larry Bird Trophy's on the line here as well. So this is really, you know, you can make your imprint in 2 ways here. And they didn't score a field goal for, I think it was like 7 minutes. Was that right?
I think it was even 8.
Yeah. And it was like...
Had 1 point through 8 minutes.
Sounds like Dante's Sunday.
Yeah, legit though. Damn. No gap.
Yeah, whose side are you on now? Marco, what are your thoughts on the game today?
I don't know. I'm struggling with the idea of this series. If this is just the result of like 2 of the best defensive teams in the NBA going at each other, and you know, one just completely shuts out the other in you know, each respective game. Because like today, Boston weren't lighting it up from the field. You know, like I think at halftime they were shooting 39%, which is a bad number to field goal percentage to start with. Better than a 6. But you know, despite that they were up by 25 points or whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's that it is, okay, we've got like the actual best defense in the league, and then we've got Miami who have like this just like playoff ready D. Or if, I don't know, is this just what basketball is now? It's just really unbalanced. One team gets on a run, the other team, you know, can't pull out the stops to stop them, and then it's just a absolutely boring game. It is boring. Like I've admired the first quarter of all 4 of these games. I've been like, wow, that's awesome. That's great seeing them playing their ball like that. And then you want to turn it off, basically.
Yeah, it's like, man, we didn't know Memphis and Minnesota were as good as these playoffs we're going to get. Hopefully the finals are closer, but yeah. What do you reckon, Dante?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely strange, but because these are probably the 2 best defenses in the East, it's like if you're not hitting your threes against this D, you're not getting anything at the rim. So if you're not hitting the threes, like, you're not getting anything. And that's what we saw. That's what we were saying in every single loss. It's like feast or famine from 3. And even today, Boston didn't shoot very well against Miami's D. So it's like you just have to rely on the best players in the series making shots, making tough shots, and the role players hitting threes. And guys like Butler, Tatum, Brown will hit tough shots, but sometimes they won't. And like today, Jimmy Butler wasn't hitting his. Tatum was. Last game it was
Bam.
Last game it was Bam, who was, you know, like taking people into the post and making off a dribble pull-ups. And if those shots stop going in because you're being defended by the best defensive players in your position, like Bam was on the all-defensive team, Jimmy Butler is an all-defensive player, Tatum, Brown, Robert Williams, Marcus Smart, the defensive player of the year, like the list goes on. So I think that's why there's so much variance in the performances. But it does kind of suck because you want to go into it being like, through 4 games, 2-2. So obviously it's a close series, but there's been no close games except for when Boston came down from 25 to lose.
Yeah.
But
And even that, it was like, you know, Jimmy and Tyler went down.
Yeah,
and
it wasn't.
Like, oh, this doesn't feel right. This doesn't feel.
And even Boston just did everything they possibly could to not get within 5 points.
Yeah.
Well, 19 steals as well. And like when we watched that live on Sunday, which is not a working day, and then they were trying to push that pocket pass in over and over and again. And we said it when we watched it live, like, you know, these guys aren't great playmakers. They're not going to make that pass, especially against really good defense. So it's like, yeah, bummer.
A 2-2 conference final should be like the best shit ever.
Yeah.
Like the prelim is in the AFL. It's like, fuck, this is kind of do or die. Because if you make the grand final or the finals, that's enough of like we had a fucking pretty good season.
Yeah, you got your parade and you have your big breakfast. You paid for breakfast.
But this sucks so much, and I'm not having fun watching it at all. Still don't believe that Miami played as bad as they did today. With a chance to go up 3-1 without Marcus Smart playing, to come out like that is like so fucked up. Because like Jimmy Butler played as well, and they burnt a Jimmy Butler game where they could have rested him in hindsight, which is
Yeah.
2020. But yeah, I don't understand how I'm having such a bad time watching a 2-2 conference finals. I mean, I do. I've watched them all, and I understand why. But like, if we look at the macro picture, with taking out the micro picture, it's like this should be sick. This should be the one we're talking about, but it's just like not a good time.
This has been one of the biggest like adjustment. I know the playoffs are always adjustment heavy, where you're playing the same team 6 or 7 times.
Sometimes
but
5
this,
or 4, yeah.
yeah. But this off season feels like particularly one team makes an adjustment, they win the next game, next team comes back. That was definitely the Minnesota series, where it was Brandon Clark's on the bench, now Tillman's starting, then Tillman's on the bench. Adams was out 2 minutes into game 2, etc., etc. The Mavs Sun series was figuring out how to keep Luka on the floor defensively, and then once they figured that out, then Phoenix supposedly didn't adjust, and then in not adjusting got thumped.
Did we? Forgot about that.
But funnily enough, this one series that we're talking about right now doesn't feel like it's got adjustments. It's just like someone plays shit.
Yeah, it is just like Tatum and Brown are just like, what would happen if I dribbled the ball out of bounds 8 times in this game? What would that potentially be like?
I think me and Lucas have talked about this in recent pods. Like, there's a lot of only playing one team's game. You know, like today was just like Boston playing their game and Miami not getting to do anything that they like. I feel like it's been like that all playoffs as well. Like, there's never been like, I think maybe even in the Bucks Boston series, there were some moments where it's like, wow, both of these teams are doing, their best stuff. Maybe the Bucks were a bit limited without Middleton offensively, but like they were getting, they were doing their offensive sets. Their D was like properly set up. But there's just been so much like, well, we can't even do what we like because we're so far behind because we're chasing the game so much.
And you don't want to show your hand as well.
Yeah.
You don't want to like show some crazy sets Spoelstra's got lined up. For.
Yeah, exactly. Like, because you're probably not going to come down from 27 points at halftime in a playoff game.
And one thing that happened with the absence of Marcus Smart, who returned in Game 3 but missed Game 4 for the exact same injury, was that Derek White was thrust into the starting role, and I think in the first 2 minutes he had like 7.2 steals, 2 assists, and it was just like, okay, this dude's very good and he can be a starter in the NBA. But because it was such a blowout, we were pretty much just getting some... Was it Mark Jackson today talking bollocks for half the game because it was a blowout? Whoever it was, they were just obviously had time to fill. No, it was JVG and Kevin Harlan because it was Kevin Harlan's birthday yesterday.
Oh, JVG.
JVG.
So crazy though. It's JVG and we have the JVG boys on the podcast.
We can only do that after he commentates on a game. But yeah, so they had time to kill. They went deep into their notes to see what they had to talk about. And probably the most interesting nugget from that half an hour of broadcast was that Derek White, who missed Game 3 with a kid, with the birth of his child,
DNP kid,
DNP pregnant. He was out on maternity leave. That was a shit ad, wasn't it? So Derek White has named his kid Hendrix, which is Hendrix Lamar, which turns out he didn't know that. Oh, hang on, I read the wrong note there. He didn't know that Robert Williams had a kid 2 days ago and also named his kid Hendrix. So now there are 2 players who worked for the same organisation who now have a kid called Hendrix.
Not only work for the same organisation, but are part of the same like 12-person team, 12-person unit.
Yeah.
Like they're in the same department.
But it got me thinking: if someone I knew in a professional setting had a kid, I'm probably not going to ask the kid's name. I'm just going to be, oh my god, Sandra.
Surely there's
That's
a
the
group.
first thing I ask.
Surely there's a group chat.
No, like, how much did it weigh?
Surely they're together every single day for like 8 hours a day. And on like 3-hour plane trips every 4 days as well.
But
like,
you would put in the group chat like, like, hey, like whatever his
Hendrix.
whatever his wife's or his partner's name is, Tiffany. Robert Williams like Tiffany, like successful labour. We welcomed little Hendrix Rome Williams. Healthy, happy, and then it's like, oh, okay. Because the other alternative is that he found out and he was like, nah, we've decided on Hendrix. Maybe in a year I'm traded and I want a completely different team and it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
We're going with Hendrix.
Or is Derek White not buying into this Boston Celtics team?
$43 million man. Yeah, or another alternative to that is he wanted to call his kid like John, but then he goes, fuck, that's not the right name. I actually really like Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah.
I'm going to pinch that. Oh, I had no idea.
I think there's a Seinfeld episode about that.
Oh, really?
I reckon-
Oh, there is.
7.
Fuck.
The players are traveling together. Maybe they're not checking the WhatsApp chat. They're with each other the entire time. Rob's blowing it up, and they're all just like playing. I don't know, playing craps with Deuce or something like that.
Well, that brings
Don't
up...
say the D word.
That brings up a disgusting Reddit thread I read today. Outside of work hours. I was on r/NBA, and then they just bring up the fact that there's two Hendrix babies, and then whenever you can add a flair to your r/NBA thing, which says what team you go for. So there's a lot of Celtics fans in there just saying, and all of them, like, there was at least 20 comments that were like, man, can't wait till the 2042 Boston Celtics roll out a team of Juice, Hendrix, and I had to have a shower after that. It was the most filthy chat I've ever read, and they were just like, that's going to be so lit. Don't forget, Rob Williams has got a kid too. Who's the other Williams? Grant. Don't forget, Grant's got a kid too. Just fucking shut up.
Rob Williams' daughter's name is Zelda also.
Really?
Do you remember
Wow.
the NBA player Sir Dominic Pointer? His sister's name was Ms. Unique, spelled they might have said apostrophe unique. All one word. So under the character limit.
There actually should be a character limit for names.
Why? What do you want it to be? For
Wow.
Sean.
I feel discriminated
Four.
against.
Oh, you just...
On this series, do we think this is going to be a bit of the result is sort of better than the process, like the destination is better than the journey? Like, let's not crown them too early, but are these teams going to be a good matchup for the Warriors in the finals?
Definitely defensively.
Is it going to be a fun series? What I'm getting at.
Yeah, it'll be fun against Miami, but I think Boston just kicks the crap out of Golden State.
Right, so that's fun.
You don't actually think that.
Cautiously
you don't
optimistic.
believe
It's
There's
very
no way
cautiously
you think
optimistic.
that.
What?
There is no way in hell you actually believe that. You're just trying to insulate yourself.
Cautiously optimistic.
No. All right. If
I'm calling cap on this.
Yeah.
Golden State beats Miami in 5, but loses to Boston in 5. That's why I'm rooting for Miami.
Nah.
Wow.
No.
Nah, let's stop with that.
Are you nut? No, I don't believe it. Or nut? You reckon Golden State puts up more of a fight?
Both. Both. But mainly I don't believe you. I don't believe that you believe it.
Yeah, I think that's my bit, my thing.
Yeah.
I think
That's
that,
actually Dante's thing.
Yeah, sorry. Don't step on your toes.
Let's unite, man. Look at him trying to fucking get in the toes again.
First, the near-death experience. Whatever point he was trying to make. Sorry,
Nah.
watching Black Ops 3.
I've actually spent half of this time watching it. Leon's a great trainer, by the way. And he's got the thunder gun.
He actually is.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you know in your heart, the Warriors are going to win. Right? Yes, you do. Don't be like
Wait,
this.
do you reckon narrative?
No, I'm just saying you, Sean Carroll.
No, but also it's not no as well. It's think.
No, it's no.
think.
No, it's no.
It's think.
No, but it's no.
No, he's been like, oh no, I reckon we'll probably lose, but he actually is like, yeah, we'll definitely roll on.
That's what I'm saying. It's full belief.
Yeah.
He knows that they're going to win.
How do we stop Jason Tatum?
It's great.
You just wait for him to dribble the ball out of bounds off his
that's
foot
right.
8 times.
But he hasn't
That'll
done
happen
it
in
for
3 out of
82.
7 games.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sure they'll find another one with Steph Curry and Draymond Green playing.
Yeah.
Golden State is the worst team in the league over the last 7 years to play against if you're turnover
That's
prone.
such a hard take.
If you're turnover prone, Golden State just turns that into points every time. And what's
Yeah.
more, they don't turn it into 2 points, they turn it into 3 points. And Boston is the most turnover prone team left in the playoffs.
Are
They're the
they?
most turnover prone team
More
in
than
the
the
whole playoffs.
Yeah, the Warriors are kind
The Warriors
Warriors
are
are
pretty
I
bad.
reckon I'm just making that
Jamie,
up.
pull
the
that
stats
up.
Pull the stats up.
I don't have the stats in front of me, but Grant Williams' mum worked for NASA. I reckon
Something Al Horford's family.
NASA known for
Okay. Well, we're not going to figure that one out. If only there was a way to find out. But they've got all the best defenders to guard someone like Steph Curry.
Yeah.
Name one.
I'll wait.
Their starting lineup and 6-man.
Peyton Pritchard.
I'll get onto the Warriors gloating when we move over to the West, but I think that to come back to this series for a second, Derek White. Now, this man is now my least favourite Boston Celtic, behind Marcus Smart and Tatum and everyone else.
You said that he's your least favourite behind everyone else.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah. You know what I mean. But I've got a question. So he was flopping like there was no tomorrow today. Yes, we're all seeing that. I thought that was worse than Marcus Smart. 2-part question. Oh, sorry. This is my. Do you think I'm now just desensitized to how Marcus Smart plays, or is Derek White just so bad to look at, and it's even worse when he's flopping?
He's so bad to look at.
Yeah, his face and stuff.
Yeah.
Dream blunt rotation: Kelvin Booth, Derek White,
Come on.
Teresa Williams, and Hendricks White. That took way too long.
You can't smoke a blunt with a father and son. It never works out.
Okay, Golden State actually averages more playoff turnovers per game.
Yeah, I just looked it up as well. They're the most playoff turnover team.
If there's one thing that we do love here at the Deep 2, it's accountability. So I made a trash take.
You didn't say that in episode 1. So.
Yeah. Well, sometimes it takes between 1 and 150 episodes to figure out your values.
To answer Lucas's question, I think you're desensitized. Yeah.
To Marcus Smart?
Yeah.
It's nice.
Because he's like... He had one where he was banging with Adebayo in game 3 that we were watching on Sunday. Again, not working. And he was initiating the contact, and so Bam started going harder in the post. Do you remember this one?
Idris Bamento.
Yeah, correct. Udon Bamento. So I've already forgotten his name. Adebayo started hitting Smart harder, and then Smart started hitting Adebayo harder, and then Smart went flying on the third hit. And it was like, well, you've initiated this like brutal post-up sequence. Bam was just looking to like put his back on you and then wait for someone to come zipping off a screen. And now Marcus Smart's on the floor and Boston has the ball, and it's like, fuck this.
What if they introduce like a boy who cried wolf rule?
Yeah.
Where it's like, if you flop 3 times in a month, you never get a charge, ever.
Yeah.
Wow. Ever again in your life.
But then the second part of the boy who cried wolf rule is you wave the finger and it's an automatic challenge. That's well and truly boy who cried wolf. So it's just like a 2-part rule. Yeah. And if your team initiates both of them in one game, it's an auto forfeit.
Last night I had the most awkward joke where the other team, last night at basketball, the other team hit a shot as the buzzer goes for halftime. So like it really doesn't matter. It's only halftime. We were down by 2 points, and then I'm like doing the finger wag, and this ref he must have spoken another language because he didn't find me funny, and I'm wagging my finger, and I'm like, "How about a review?" And then he doesn't reply. I'm like, "How about a review, man?" And then my mate laughs a little bit because I'm funny. And then the ref's just like, "Are you talking to me?" Yeah. I'm wagging my finger like NBA, and he literally doesn't reply.
Wow. Get that guy in the NBA.
Yeah.
Well,
no reaction.
Someone just got him COVID because it was his first game. I don't know whether I look intimidating with skinny arms and a blue singlet, but I mustn't have. Oh no, damn! So how many zombies trains are we going to get before the episode ends?
15 rounds. I've done shoots bigger.
I've done skinks bigger.
It is always nice to go back on Marcus Smart flopping highlights or lowlights just to refresh the brain, cleanse the palate, if you will. Have we got any final points on this series before moving on to the other one?
No.
Who's the Larry Bird?
I know series predictions as well.
Boston in 6, Tatum.
Boston in 6 for sure. I think after Miami's win, after having a fucking 3 million steal advantage and winning by like 10 points or something, it was like, okay, well, they're not going to win this series.
Yeah.
Boston in 6. Marco?
I'm not going to win it. I got Boston in 7, but Jimmy has 40 points in the last game. It's the first game where it's like, okay, they're actually playing well and Boston beat them. And then he gets the Larry Bird trophy. I reckon it's going to all losers this year. The conference finals.
The NBA is going to give
that would be unprecedented.
The NBA is going to give the Larry Bird trophy to the non-Celtic player. Interesting.
It will be Peyton Pritchard.
They're actually going to give the Magic Johnson Awards, not a Laker. What's what about you?
Too soon,
Yeah.
man.
There are no Lakers on the Warriors roster right now?
Kai Bowman.
Yeah.
No, there actually isn't. Yeah.
They're usually bad.
Boston in 7. Jalen Brown.
Jalen Brown,
Yeah.
he who hasn't put the ball in the basket.
Nah, what did you watch?
He had a
Did you watch the other day? He's got 40 points.
20.
Yeah, but in the 40 points, there was 8. Like,
You
8
actually-
dribbles off the foot.
Yeah, but Tatum has not scored as many points as him and also has just as many turnovers.
Box score warrior over you.
Step away from
Yeah,
the
you gotta watch this game. Watch the games, bro.
Never heard that voice from you.
That was just Oprah
So
Winfrey.
that's my real voice.
Boston 7 and Jason Tatum.
Is anyone hating Jalen Brown a little bit more and more every day?
Yeah.
What happened? Because I'm the same.
He's got the Kyrie
It's the-
Irving effect.
Yeah, it's the anti-vax thing.
I think no, but that stuff.
And it's the same thing with Iguodala where it's like, you're the smartest guy in the NBA, learn how to play basketball well.
What the hell are you talking about?
Okay, bro, you have sat. This is Iggy. You have sat on the bench for 2 years.
And been a little prick about it as well.
Hit
Going to Memphis and being like,
Literally.
I'm going to get paid
Or-
13. He
or
really
I
paved
wanna-
the way for Simmons before Simmons.
Okay,
Ben
let's
Simmons.
even back a step. I'm gonna choose where I want to play. I'm gonna choose the Warriors. Oh, the Warriors have traded me. Well, I don't want to play here. And then he comes out of contract and he's like, Warriors taking me back. Like, fuck off. Learn how to shoot a 3. Jalen Brown had this like career arc of Paul George without dribbling a basketball, so now he's just not Paul George.
The only
And Paul George isn't exactly the highest fucking bar. So like, plus the anti-vax is just like 2 thumbs down.
Yeah.
I think it's got nothing to do with his play and everything to do with that stupid celebration he did with Marcus Smart.
What was
What
it?
did he do?
Were they fucking holding the
Oh,
orb or
yeah,
whatever?
yeah.
I tried to understand it and I just couldn't.
Because he hit a left-handed layup.
Yeah.
So Steph used to hold his left hand to the crib because
Yeah.
he used to be really bad with his left.
Yeah, but
And Mark Smart's a nonce.
Like Steph Curry learned how to do other things on a basketball court. That's good. Good progression.
Oh, I
Yeah.
thought there was a question mark.
No,
No. Steph Curry does have a bright future. You're right.
Steph Curry, come a long way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Learned how to not roll his ankles. Etc.
That's literally it.
Yeah, that's all he needed.
Yeah, damn.
Alright, well, should we move on to the next series? To
What-
Golden State and Dallas?
Genuine question though. Is there anything to talk about here? Because
Well, there's
It's-
3 points in the run sheet.
it's a it's a bloodbath. I think it's an absolute bloodbath.
Well, we'll start off with season predictions. Let's start off with the Andrew Wiggins dunk because Andrew Wiggins has been playing like he was the number 1 overall draft pick, and this is what you want out of him. You want a third option on a championship team. Like you don't always get the best thing with a
Fourth.
yeah, 5th even.
well, not last.
Oh, with Herway Cavon's
Yeah,
playing.
with the Quebec ones
Oh.
playing. Yeah.
Will
Kevin.
Clooney,
Kevon
Okay, Bill.
Kawan Chamberlain.
Let's start with the Wiggins dunk.
I'm starting with the.
You've lost control of the
Yeah,
clock.
you. 1, 2, 3. Eyes on me.
It's your lunch.
I saw someone. It was Kurt Goldsby, who we love.
Forgot about that.
Friend of the pod.
Kurt Goldsby said that might have been the best in-game playoff dunk ever. And my initial thought was, shut the fuck up.
I hate it when Sean's happy.
Is this even, like, obviously it was a great dunk, but is this even top
Baron Davis.
15
What?
ever?
Playoff dunk?
Playoff dunk? You know how many dunks there have been in the playoffs and you think that dunk was one of the best ever?
Can you think of a better playoff dunk?
Ja Morant like 3 weeks ago.
What do you do?
He dunked on.
Fucking baptize someone probably.
Yeah, he dunked on. I lost
It's
it.
probably Cat.
He dunked on someone.
Ah.
Was it Beasley? Malik? Was it Malik Beasley?
I feel like Malik Beasley doesn't have the same valor as Luka Doncic.
Yeah, no, he still put his nuts in.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. I think like great playoff dunks
it
are
was.
like entirely context dependent.
That's right.
And the context of this was great. Like, it was on Luka Doncic.
Notable defensive stopper.
But he got called for an offensive foul, and then it played over and over and over again.
Yeah.
On the,
Nah,
on
I just
the
watched the
replay.
Jar dunk. It was over Malik Beasley. It's the Jar dunk is 100% better.
Really?
So did Wiggins get the bucket?
Oh,
Did they
Yeah.
go back and give him the
Yeah,
points?
they
Yeah.
did. Yeah.
Andrew Wiggins.
Did the Warriors have to challenge for that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what they
Great
called him?
challenge.
They called him
Great
for a
challenge.
forearm shiver Yeah.
Oh, I haven't heard that in a while. It's deep in the memories.
Truck
But,
stick.
I mean, it is also nice, the full circle of Andrew Wiggins' career, like to where he is now. Because when he got traded to Golden State, we said, okay, he's a salary. It's going to get flipped for something. You've got the picks and everything.
Yeah.
And now it's
we also said he fucking sucks.
Yeah.
And now he's an all-star starter and well deserved.
Oh god.
Well, I mean, I think this Andrew Wiggins in the playoffs might be an all-star starter. The one in the regular season.
Sean.
It's closer to.
He's like a defensive stopper and a rebounder, not an all-star starter.
In a conference with like LeBron James and Kawhi Leonard.
Defensive stoppers are strong. He's a good defender.
No, he's a good defender.
He's a good defender.
He's a good defender.
He's no DFS.
But it looks pretty good, doesn't it? Like
No,
he's going to get 30
to
million
get
this next
Kuminga
contract.
and Wiggins for D'Angelo Russell. Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy trade. Like it looked like a good trade in the beginning, and Kuminga has flashed that he might be a really, really good player, like better than like the 8th pick ordinarily. And Wiggins, yeah, like they would have won this trade even if they didn't get Kuminga. They did get Kuminga, so they won
How
it
old's Wiggins?
even more.
26?
Like 28.
29.
Oh, wow.
No, not
Really?
29.
Oh yeah, because he's drafted in.
Yeah, but he came out.
2014
He came out
draft.
really young.
Yeah, but
Oh,
that's
would you
still.
look at that?
27,
27.
Would you look at that? Oops.
27 and 90 days.
Still in his
So
prime.
we
Round it up to the nearest 365.
round up to 29.
I think the best thing about this is not for his whole Warriors career, but a lot of his Warriors career, it's like they've been trying to fit him into the team. It's like, all right, how do we cover up the fact that like, he just takes a three every time he gets the ball and it's swung to him. How do we cover up the fact that he's not always a very good shooter or a very good decision maker? And now it's like, oh well, like the Warriors need a good wing defender and they need rebounds, and he's just been given that for them. And I feel like that's not something he's provided for a lot of his Warriors career.
Yeah, well, the rebounding is incredible. It's
Yeah.
like he was playing the 4, he was out rebounding Kevon Looney. He was he was coming down. And that's why Steph gets a lot of rebounds as well, because they help down. Something you want to share with the class?
I think it was just on pocketnewsalert.com. Looking at a photo of Andrew Wiggins' sister.
Oh my god.
Is it funny?
It was just a shock.
Okay.
I was on
Pocketnews.com.
I was on
News alerts.
I was on celebs.info.c-media.
These are the reclamation projects that make the Warriors the future Spurs. Okay. Looks like him. These are the reclamation projects that make the Warriors.
Surely this is the earliest we've ever lost control.
I can't believe what's happening.
Usually it's not Tante as well.
Oh, I think I just got abs.
Okay. I'm not going to say my starting statement again. Jordan Poole sucked year one, and now he's really
fuck
good.
him.
Curry couldn't stay on the floor for longer than 10 games. Now he's probably the best point guard to ever step foot on the floor, right? Or if not, close enough.
I reckon.
Yeah. I think.
Unarguable for me.
I think he.
No
I
shit.
think.
I know.
He's a shooting guard.
Draymond can't shoot, and he's still a useful offensive product 80% of the time, and then the best defender in the league. And they plucked Wiggins from the shittest situation, or bottom 5 shit situation. I guess it would be
Spoken
top,
like a true king.
it would be top 5 shit situation at the time. And now he's a very, very, very versatile and useful starter. So who's to say that they can't make Kuminga good and make good on the Wiseman thing? So
If Moses Moody keeps playing conference final minutes,
they're doing everything right.
yeah,
And
it's like they're further ahead than everyone.
Yeah.
Apparently there's a hashtag for that.
Yeah, if only there was a phrase. A friend of the pod, Kirk Goldsberry, said on on one of the recent Zach Lowe podcasts, like this series is the it's the like young up and coming future of the league superstar just coming against the like institutional team getting thumped. And we'll see you next year, or
So
we'll see you in 2
this
years.
is Michael Jordan against the Pistons.
It's that vibe. It's that vibe.
For the second series in a row. So we know that the series is over because statistically, and I know you love the stats here, Marco, but no one's actually ever come back from a 3-1 deficit. And
It's
game
three
actually
zeros
three.
even worse.
and game 4. So what's the number on game 4? Something
69%,
like. So you're right, Dante. There are only 3 top points here. Why 69%? You're not Stephanie Wiggins.
It's the sex number.
It is a funny number. Who we got for the Magic Johnson Award?
I actually, I'm not there yet. I'd like to chime in here a little bit. Warriors are the best team I've ever seen. Where unless building on what you said about like they've turned this guy into this. Draymond can't fucking play offense, and he's like the best offensive player that can't shoot. I regret my wording there a little bit. I could but like,
Is that because you're literally watching Call of Duty?
But just like the purpose they play with for the whole game, they're just so cohesive defensively. They move as a unit, and then their offense is so simple. Like, if they don't get a clean look on their first action, they'll kick it out to the top, which will be Wiggins or Draymond or Looney, dribble handoff with Steph or Clay. That'll lead into something, and it's just clinical. And I feel like this is probably the thinnest roster yet, like throughout the whole dynasty, and it's still just as productive as any of the other ones. And yeah, like Jordan Poole, I feel like in that Denver series, it was like, oh cool, he can just keep dropping 20, it was dropping 30, but it was like, you know, you can probably rely on him to get 20 a night, and he's just like gone missing some nights, and it hasn't mattered because, Looney's had 8 dunks, Wiggins has had fucking, 16 or 17 points every single game.
Yeah. He had the
and-
exact same stat line for 4 games in a row.
Yeah, and like he's defending like crazy. And this is the conference finals, and I feel like they're the only team ready to like win a series at this stage. Bless you. Yeah, he's all good. And he's the Warriors are just like the only team that's ready to make it to the NBA finals, which is part of the reason I don't think it matters if the Heat or the Celtics come out. They're like, okay, let's win a fucking ring. Whereas the Celtics and the Heat are like, oh, let's see what you're going to do next game. Are we going to win or are you? Yeah.
Let's hope we hit our threes tonight.
Meanwhile, Steph Curry's
Banging the receiver down on the table.
You actually said that when we did the last 4-man weave plus Marco, when we were talking about just the playoffs and like our predictions. This is before the play-in, so we'd actually predicted the Clippers to go against
you guys
Phoenix.
Yep.
Yes.
Whatever. But yeah, you were really bullish on the Warriors.
I was bullish on the Warriors pre-season.
Yeah.
Chess, not checkers. I mean, sorry, light years.
Because you had said, yeah, like they've been there before, they just know what to do. And like I put that in the group chat, and Dante gets pretty annoyed. But literally, like it's
Stick
just
to the Nuggets, man.
Yeah.
some teams just know how to win.
Yeah, the Warriors literally fucked the second pick. They completely fucked it.
Fully
They
did.
didn't trade it and get a piece. They didn't draft the best player in the draft, or second best if you like Edwards. They literally just picked someone, like they didn't know he was going to get injured. But when he was playing, he wasn't good because he's a young big. And it literally hasn't mattered.
Yeah.
It hasn't mattered at all. Now, if it matters in the next series where it's like, oh, we could have used a player that does this, but like Lucas doesn't foresee it happening, and if they win, it's like, well, fucking damn. And then if Wiseman ends up being good, now it's just compounding. They've done so well.
I feel like singing Ave Maria.
Yeah, and you're literally still should be like, nah, we wouldn't beat the Celtics.
Boston.
Shut up. Yes,
Because
you
look
would.
what's
Oh my god,
look-
Denver. How are we going to beat Denver? They got Jokic. No, it's fine. See you later.
That was funny. I was so worried about facing the Nuggets.
Who did you even play in the second round?
Memphis.
Yeah, but it took you a while to think.
But every time I put the Warriors down, I always just get essentially Warriors Bukaki'd right after. So it's great. So who's going to win the Magic Johnson Award?
Well, speaking of Bukaki, Jonathan Kuminga.
I thought that was a Magic Johnson joke.
Cum bucket.
Oh yeah,
Curry.
You probably did.
Yeah,
Gotta be
Curry,
Curry.
man.
I'm gonna go for the loser. I'm gonna put Luka down.
Well,
Luka
let's
Doncic.
let's not just gloss over the fact that you can take it for granted, but Steph in these playoffs is averaging 27 points, 6 assists, 5 rebounds, while shooting a terrible. He's such a bad shooter now. 39% from 3.
Fuck, what numbers to start with?
6. And he's shooting a career high bar 1 year from 2, shooting 55% from inside the arc.
So
and
not a career high.
yeah, not a career high at all, actually.
But God, is he close?
But and like you hear people talk about that, how amazing he is just getting into the defense, and they're still selling out on
Who's talking
his
about
3-point shot. Everyone.
I think Kurt Goldsberry.
Yeah, pretty much.
Shout out.
The NBA cognizant.
Steph Curry. So who have you said?
Yeah, Curry.
Curry, Luka.
I would like. I mean, I'm being an asshole, but I would like Wiggins to win it for this series, for like defensively as well, because he's
not going to win the
fucking
finals
steady.
award. He's not going to win the finals MVP.
Well, with the way they voted with Steph in the finals,
Yeah.
it could be anyone. Like honestly, gun to my head, Curry, but like Wiggins has done fucking so much, and it hasn't just been one dunk on Luka. It's been like Draymond's had 2 of the worst playoff games I've seen him play ever, and it's been okay. And Otto Porter's out, and there has been he has been so heavily relied upon, and he's been fucking fine. And I just think that that's really awesome. And I'm happy for Andrew Wiggins, Maple Jordan, or anything else you'd like to call him. He can take a back seat while Steph Curry gets to Major Johnson award.
Curry.
Do we want to talk a little bit about what Dallas can do this offseason to fix some of their issues?
Well, they got to get rid of Kristaps Porzingis first. Start there.
Well, they do have to address the big man position, because like Maxi Kleber is...
How the mighty have fallen when 3 games ago we were saying, fuck, Maxi Kleber literally ruined the Suns.
But
now,
I mean, he is still, like, if he's your backup center, it's like Nick Batum. Like, that's going to be so great in some situations. Like, he's not amazing running around screens in this series, but he's going to be so good, and you need him on your team for the next 5 years. Because in case they come across the Clippers or a Phoenix. But they do have to do something about the Dwight Powell role, because he's not a starter at the moment, sadly, even though Kevin Durant did say great job in coming back from your ACL tear. Like, do you guys want to talk about specific names, or do you just want to say points to improve on there, or what do you want to do?
I think Kid needs to, firstly quit and just go into hiding forever. But secondly, like, learn to sort of run an offense not through a guard, because I think, particularly in this last game, Luka had 40, Brunson had 26, Dinwiddie had 20 or something like that, and then every other player was just like not getting the ball except for catch and shoot threes, and they weren't hitting them. And I just think you need a little bit more complexity to your offense. Now, whether that's like, I don't know, I don't think it's Tim Hardaway Jr. coming back, but if it's a player like that coming into the side and just being like, providing a little bit of a lengthier spark from the wing, that might be it. But yeah, I think apart from the center issue, that's the only other thing I would do.
But if you're getting 80 points out of those 3 guys, and like they're probably going to be the 3 guards moving forwards for hopefully maybe the next 5 years. If you're getting 80 points out of those guys, maybe you just need better shooters.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think you need that You need like an option. You need an option a 4th option that you can go to when your first 3 might not be completely working. Because like there have been games where Luka, yes, he's putting up points, he's getting assists, he's getting rebounds, but he looks gassed, And then Brunson and Dinwiddie, they're still not, guaranteed buckets night in, night out. Like Dinwiddie is still like a streaky player. Brunson is still like coming into his own. I think like obviously this was his breakout season or whatever you want to say. So I think you need that Andrew Wiggins that you can kind of fall back on occasion, just to like get a bit of different action going. Well, I even think about like with Phoenix, like Mikal Bridges was that player last season and then wasn't that player this season. Yeah.
They just got an awkward contract situation.
Yeah.
They've got hard contracts to move, and if you get rid of Dinwiddie, then you have to keep Brunson. If you get rid of Hardaway, what are you getting back? You probably want to keep Powell, so that you have Powell, Kleber, and whoever the 3rd guy is. But then if the 3rd guy's worth any money, again, you're still losing that guard. And so it's an awkward trade situation. And I don't think their picks are going to be super, worth anyone's while. How many picks do they have? They've got a couple picks they can trade.
I think they have 22, 24.
Okay.
You talking about Dallas?
Yeah. There's 25s to New York for the Zinger.
23, I think.
Okay.
23, and then everything else I think they have.
And then how many first-round picks do you want to hemorrhage to get the 4th option, or to get the maybe starting center? So awkward sitch contract-wise.
All of them. You got Luka. That's gonna be in the 20s every single time. Yeah, Dallas just gotta sell right now. Maxi Kleber's
Sell or buy?
sell Maxi Kleber at his highest price for I don't know, a bit more versatility anywhere. But sell all their pieces that I'm going to say overperformed this postseason. Jesus, these playoffs, and then whether you want to go Luka, Dinwiddie, Brunson is like we're going to just go with you three, or Luka, Brunson. Cheers what you did, Dinwiddie, but we can turn you into something else. Just sell fucking everyone else and add some more versatility to this team. Maybe Kidd needs to be part of the decision making on the roster as well, because it's very obvious the way he plays.
He has made good decisions in his past. That's none of this is factoring in the if someone is like we're going to pay Jalen 25, are they matching it or going a little bit higher?
They don't have match rights.
No. So they have to literally be like, Jalen, we'll give you 27.
Yeah.
So
do they have bird rights?
No.
Well, no, they got bird rights, but if someone can just steal him.
Yeah, okay. He's unrestricted? How does that make sense?
Because he was a second round draft pick and he signed a flat 4-year deal.
Yeah.
So he's on 4 years minimum, but he didn't have any
I had
options
no
or
idea.
anything.
We're gonna be in this position with Jose Alvarado.
Man, literally Questo. No Quando. Is that when?
What?
Yeah, Quando, yeah. Quando.
I don't even know.
I thought Quando was a name, but
He's the
literally
fourth
you
Mega.
meant
I thought you were trying to say Quavo.
Quando.
And the Migos breaking up? Can we talk about that?
I don't know.
Are they actually?
Let's move on.
That's
Do
the
you remember
Kardashians.
Migoses?
The Migoses.
Should we take a break before talking about the news of the week?
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, we should.
The depth, the deep two. God, that's a mouthful. Anyways, I'm Marco, co-host of the Hey, Daniel Gafford, what's the name of our podcast?
JVG NBA Tribute Show.
Wow, I can't believe it's that easy. Thanks, Gaff. You probably know us as two members of the four-man weave plus Marco, but we know you as our next listener.
Well said, Lucas. I gotta ask, how do we differ from the pack of basketball podcasts?
It's a great question, Marco. You see, on our basketball podcast, we have two male co-hosts.
Wow, truly groundbreaking. After this episode, stay on your favorite podcasting app and give us a spin.
And we're back. The biggest news for the week was that Denver Nuggets, the architect of the Denver Nuggets as we know them today, Tim Connelly, has been snatched by the Minnesota Timberwolves, who have today, according to Shams Charania, assigned him to a 5-year, $40 million deal plus an ownership stake. The rumblings of this started a week ago where Minnesota said they wanted to sign a, quote, top 5 executive in the league to replace whoever it was they fired. Well, Sachin Gupta was Gerson Rosa. Yeah, he was a bin. He was a bottom 5 GM.
Yeah.
And so Minnesota looked at the landscape of the league, saw what they considered to be the top 5 GMs in the league, and thought that the only one who was, quote, gettable, now this is actually in the article, the only one that was gettable was the Tim Connelly of the Denver Nuggets, because the Denver Nuggets have historically been cheap when it comes to paying both employees on the front office side and on the team. So they just said, hey, we're going to give him a lot of money and an ownership stake, and they literally got him. Does anyone feel bad for Stan Kroenke and the Denver Nuggets?
Never feel bad for Stan Kroenke.
Yeah.
You feel bad for the Nuggets people. Feel bad for Nuggets players and fans, for sure.
You hope he's built enough of a, I guess, architecture underneath him to that. Who's his successor?
Kelvin Booth.
Kelvin Booth. Dreamline rotation. That this Booth fellow.
As Wizards legend Kelvin Booth.
Can just sort of continue what he was doing.
I mean, it's all there. You've got Jamal, Jokic, and MPJ. You just need to re-sign Gary Harris and PJ Dozier.
Yeah.
And then you've got enough argument just to be like, I thought we were going to win. And that's 5 years of Nuggets basketball.
There's not much you can do, beyond what's been done, and there's not much that you can fuck up, on the Denver Nuggets organization currently. The thing that, when I saw this news, I was like, what are you talking about? The new Timberwolves GM here, he's only just getting started. Give this Sachin Gupta fellow a try. Hasn't done anything. So they obviously had their eyes on, if not Tim Connelly, then another top 5 executive in the league from when they fired Gershon. and it just wasn't the time for that to happen. So
Well, Sachin Gupta should be one of the top 5
Yeah.
GMs in the league. He was the second in charge during the process and was like Sam Hinkie's like most trusted advisor / only trusted advisor.
that's why I thought they would have given him more of a chance.
Yeah, so right.
But like, you've read the
Take me
Jeroen
to the top.
Weitzman book, where there's lots of fun Sam Hinkie anecdotes, which include the general vibe that everyone fucking hated him because he was a shit bloke. If you were Sam Hinkie's most trusted advisor, potentially there's two possibilities. Either he has the social skills and wherewithal to like bridge the gap between like the brilliant genius recluse asshole and like everybody else in the building, and that's why he could like play both sides and he was trusted by Sam Hinkie, but everyone else was like, this guy's a normal guy. Or he's just like Hinkie as well, in which case maybe he's not like, doesn't inspire confidence, or he's not good at like working the room, he's not good at maintaining and building relationships. Whereas Tim Connelly has, I couldn't speak for anything about his personality, but he's got a track record.
Yeah.
He's got an absolute track record. My only real thoughts on this, on like the Nuggets side, obviously that sucks, but isn't it so Arsenal?
yeah, 100%.
This is so fucking Arsenal.
When you were talking about Crinky, I was like, yeah, I would know.
Yeah, Cronky's like the through line. He owns Arsenal as well, and it's like, it's so fucking.
Do they do the same thing in EPL?
Yeah, well, all like they just cost cut. It's like if something's too expensive, like we won't do it. They also
players as well.
Pardon?
Players as well.
Yeah, it makes more of an impact in the EPL because like Arsenal should be a top 6 club and they don't spend as much money as the other top 6 clubs.
They famously, I think it was maybe Aguero back in the day.
40 million in one.
Yeah, they put in a $40 million bid for, I think it was Aguero when he was at Atletico Madrid, and Madrid was like, no, it's gonna take a bit more than that, and then they literally put in a $1 higher bid.
Which you can do in FIFA manager mode.
Yeah, definitely can.
Yeah.
But it is it must be galling as a Nuggets fan because it's not like there's no cap on how much you can spend. You just had to basically say, we'll pay you $10 million a year. We won't give you the ownership stake, but we'll pay you an extra $2 million a year compared to what they're paying you. Just stay.
Yeah.
Whatever it takes, we'll make it worth your while.
Yeah.
It means nothing to Stan Kroenke. Like, he's printing money from Arsenal. He'd be printing money to a lesser extent from the Nuggets. He also owns the Rams in LA, who just won the fucking Super Bowl.
Yeah.
He would be absolutely...
Also, he owns Walmart. That's his main money.
he'd be, like, money is like no object to a person like that, and yet, allegedly he put in an offer to try and keep him, and it was substantially lower than what they were.
Lower before the ownership stake.
Yeah.
Honestly, something, now this doesn't happen often, but something that Lucas has said really stuck with me on one of the very first 4-man ways, where you said, like, you own a basketball team. Like, what the fuck are you saving for? You're like, I need to save for fucking food next week. But this dude doesn't have that problem. And if you are a millionaire, maybe save a couple more million so you can buy a basketball team. But you literally have the greatest toy on the planet. There is nothing more you can do with your money. So wise.
Yeah, what do we say? They're running it like a small business.
Yeah.
But that's his whole thing with every club franchise he runs. Like, it's the same with Arsenal. It's like one of the most historic sporting clubs in the world. You could say that pretty comfortably,
Who even as recently as like 15 years ago were like among the world's like elite of the elite.
Yeah,
Because of Thierry Henry.
Yeah, because of Thierry Henry.
Did
He's so fucking good.
Arsene Wagner.
I don't know when he bought them, actually. Do you know when he bought Arsenal?
I looked it up just before. He's been the owner. He's been the majority shareholder in some form or fashion since 2007.
Yeah.
Of Arsenal? Or
Of Arsenal.
Yeah.
But before, he became the sole share owner in 2018, and before that he was like in like a timeshare with like another rich guy.
Yeah, that's just about when we started getting shit, actually.
It actually genuinely is though. Like, I mean,
It's
like,
scary
it
how
fucking-
like 2007 it's like, all right, we're finishing 4th, and then 2018 we're not making the championship.
2005, you were finishing like first with a bullet.
Exactly. Yeah,
You know.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know anything about soccer,
Yeah, sorry.
but surely as the league, as the NBA, you don't want this guy owning a basketball team. Like, if he owns Walmart, that soccer club.
He also owns the Avalanches, the The hockey team, but no one gives
The
a
hockey
fuck.
team, the gridiron team, and the basketball team. Like, surely that's not in the NBA's best interest. Surely you want an owner that's like, oh, my main priority is this multi-billion-dollar basketball team.
Yeah, well, Vivek Ranadive does that, and he's
The worst owner.
he commits all his time.
He's
so.
the worst owner without Trump political ties.
But like,
In the
imagine,
NBA.
imagine you own a basketball team and you're like,
He also has Narendra Modi ties though.
Oh god.
Yeah.
again, I don't watch soccer.
Can I just interrupt?
Prime Minister.
Which
Can I
number does it
just
start with?
interrupt you? You just tell a quick story. The first time I travelled in India, I was on a beach in Goa. Just on a random beach. It's called Arambol, and it's like when I got there, I didn't know anything about the geopolitical landscape of Goa, but it quickly became apparent that there's 3 beaches in the north that are like the Russian beaches, and people will there are like companies that like operate charter flights from Russia to Goa, like just for Russian people. Like,
Because sorry to interrupt, it's had a socialist government for like the last 80 years or something
Yeah.
like that. So they'd come like when it was the USSR, and it's like
Yeah.
you can only holiday in Vietnam, Cuba, and Goa.
Goa.
Yeah.
And so on Arambol, there's like this banner that has Narendra Modi and everyone's favourite Eastern European dictator Vladimir Putin shaking hands in front of like the flags, and then in clip art, like Microsoft Word art at the bottom, it says like friendship forever or something.
That's just a regular Indian meme.
Yeah. Friendship ended with.
So when's the near-death experience?
No, that's actually not PG.
But Lucas digressing.
What was it? What were we talking about?
You own a basketball team. Like, what would you?
Yeah, dude, you own a basketball team that has Nikola
Freaking
Jokic on it.
basketball. team.
Yeah. No, he is making a point here, guys.
You
Everyone
have
hush.
Nikola Jokic on your basketball team, and it's like, the Denver Nuggets. I own them. Try and save like $5 million a year on what's the guy Booth? Yeah, he could be. Tim Connelly. I know he fucking saved my ass, but no. He Minnesota's offering that much. Nah, Calvin Booth's good. Don't call me 5 million too.
Yeah. 2 points on the Denver side of things. So they actually, under the Cronkies, they had Masai Ujiri, and then this same thing happened where Toronto wanted to pay him a lot of money. So
He's supposed to be pretty good as well.
He's supposed to be pretty good. He was actually on the top 5 list that Minnesota had.
The Wizards targeted him a few years ago.
Yeah.
The Lakers targeted him a few years ago. So I don't know if you heard.
So they had Masai Ujiri, and they just let him walk because they didn't want to pay him money, and then they brought in this young upstart dude called Tim Connelly. He's now one of the best GMs in the league, and they've just let him go under the exact same situation. So Kelvin Booth, he's probably going to be good, knowing the track record of them being able to hire new people. But you sort of don't want him to be good because you want these guys to be punished. So
That's weird for you to say as a dad.
then we have a laugh. But then my second point is just at end of season interviews, at the end of the season, sort of press conference, Tim Connelly said, and the questions were coming like, hey, you haven't paid the luxury tax under the Cronkies. And then he actually quoted Lucas and said, you have Nikola Jokic on your team. Are you going to start paying the tax? And he goes, yep, ownership has told me that they're going to start paying the tax as soon as they find a team, quote, a team that's good enough, which they haven't been able to find a team that's good enough in their whole history of owning the club. So who knows that having a 2-time MVP and, all-star level players in Jamal and MPJ coming up is good enough. But if Kelvin Booth is just going to be a lame duck and he's the dude where it's like, hey, you just got a job, do what I tell you because you just got your job.
The Joe Cronin.
Yeah. There's ways to get under the luxury tax for the Denver Nuggets this season, and they involve Will Barton and JaMychal Green. So if anyone hears any news about them getting salary dumped, or maybe it's a trade for an opportunity of a player who's going to be getting paid much less than Will Barton and JaMychal Green, it's going to be the same thing over and over again. And it's so frustrating because they have Nikola Jokic on the roster.
Yeah.
And they'll just keep printing money. That's the most unjust thing about it. It doesn't matter for him if Calvin Booth is there or not, because he's still able to extract profit from the club.
It's a bloody gold mine up in Denver.
They'll still get playoffs revenue. He saves $5 million for paying the GM. And he's still Oh yeah. Oh, sorry, of course. And he still sells every ticket because he's got the MVP and jerseys. And he's European.
Oh, actually, one more thing on top of that. Denver Nuggets. You can't actually watch Denver Nuggets games on free-to-air TV in Denver for the past year. Yeah.
It's not even on cable. Like, you have to have League Pass.
Yeah.
Or,
VPN.
Or different states, like satellite or something like that. Yeah.
Because they're in a disagreement. The Cronky Sports and Entertainment is in a disagreement with Comcast, who broadcast the games.
So what I think the NBA should do is formulate some sort of Donald Sterling racism incident. For Stan Kroenke.
It's not even formulated. It exists.
They wouldn't have to format.
It exists.
Put a fucking microphone in
the issue with that
I hear he's a really nice bloke.
the issue with that is the NFL haven't been able to get rid of Dan Snyder. So there's no way they're going to, like, the NBA will
The
be able to
NFL
get
is
rid of
also
Kroenke.
less motivated on getting rid of people than the NBA is.
Yeah,
Because the
but
NFL...
The NBA has a track record.
But when you've got who's the guy that does Amazon? When you've got Bezos being like, I'll buy Washington, like, okay, then get rid of Snyder. It's very like there would be someone who comes into Washington and pays a shit ton of money and then pumps money into the franchise. Dan Snyder doesn't do that. But so I'm still. I know this is a freaking basketball podcast, but I can't believe they haven't tried to funnel him out yet.
And also, like, he's an American white billionaire. I reckon if you record him for a week, you might find something.
Oh god, yeah. They found so much.
Well, yeah, they literally found everything on Dan Snyder, and he's like he's still there.
They didn't follow
the coach from Oakland got pinged and lost his job because of shit that he said in emails to the Washington owner, and then the coach got
Washington
fired.
GM.
So no, it was to Snyder.
Wasn't it to it was to the guy they brought in that drafted Brandon Scherf.
Yeah.
Anyway.
During the 2016 US presidential campaign, Stan donated $100,000 to the Hillary Victory Fund. It's nice. He subsequently donated $1 million to Donald Trump's. Get the microphone in front of him. That's what I'm saying.
And like who either of you just said before, any of them, put a microphone in front of any of them and they'd get that. The ringer, John Gonzalez from the Ringer, like 3 years ago when we first. No, I was in WA.
He's SI now.
Okay. Well, it was whilst I was in WA, so like sometime in the last 2 years, he did like an analysis on the political donations from NBA owners, and it was like lots of them were donating to both sides of politics.
As rich people do, yeah.
They always do.
But the majority of them were donating more to Republicans, and there were more donating only to Republicans than there were donating only to Democrats. And the Democratic numbers, it was like not like 50-50, it was probably like 60-40 Republicans. But the Democratic numbers were skewed massively because Steve Ballmer donated like $6 billion to like Democratic causes over the span of like a few months.
Did he win on Saturday?
Clive Palmer wishes. So you take out Steve Ballmer's donations, and all of a sudden it's more like 70-30, like Republican donations. So to the point of whoever before said, stick a microphone in front of any of these people, and you would 100% hear lots of stuff that you don't want to hear.
Yeah.
Donald Sterling was a Democrat though.
Well, he gave black people housing. So. That was the whole thing, wasn't it? He was doing the nice thing, giving them houses.
Not to get too off topic here, but it does make you think about like
nice of you.
the NBA's whole actual commitment to social justice causes and stuff like that. It's like, you send the players out, they wear the Black Lives Matters jerseys, and you put it on the court, and then the owners are just giving hundreds of millions of dollars to a pro-police party.
All the while, fucking John Isaac's writing a book about
I think it's coming out.
Are you gonna buy it? Just get a PDF, actually.
Yeah, I'll probably get a PDF.
You
Read it NBA.
Am I right?
No.
Damn.
The Kindle's killing my industry.
Yeah, that's right.
But who's getting Kindle art and fashion books?
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. That's why I'm in a job.
So you just
That's why I don't have time for this damn podcast.
yeah, but you don't walk into a really beautiful house and just see a couple of PDFs. It's like Chanel's first trip to France. Chanel with a C. Well, that's the weeds.
Danny, have you guys played Dungeons and Dragons?
Do you play Dungeons and Dragons?
Yeah, we're looking for
Friend of the program.
we're looking for a third in our campaign. Sounds like my ex-wife.
You know what, that was
You had
worth,
to wait so long.
that was worth the wait.
The patience is unparalleled.
We are looking for a third, though. Alright, we'll chat when the
My people will talk to your people. That's a good way to finish.
Yeah, before we go,
No,
just
go on.
a quick plug. Aless has an article about the Phoenix Suns coming up later this week. It'll be out on Thursday, so head to... And this is a true story. Today I typed in thedeep2.com into my browser, and I literally,
Wait, slow down.
the first neuron connected to the other neuron in my brain sent an electrochemical signal, and that signal said, that was pretty easy. So the deep2.com, it really is that simple. And Alessa's piece, which I have read it before it goes up, certified banger. So head to the website and check that out.
Well, if you go to link.tree/, and then just get a pen out for this one. 1 to 6.
JVG. Nah, but in all honesty, plug your shit.
Did you guys want that trivia question?
Oh, yeah.
How many 3-pointers did Duncan Robinson hit last series against the Philadelphia 76ers?
1.
2.
0.
I'm gonna say
Hold
0.
on. Can I re-guess? 7.
Okay,
Still
1.
Yeah, bro.
Oh, mine looks like a 1.
Congratulations.
How many did he hit today?
0.
4, didn't he?
4.
Max Drews 0. He's taking the Duncan Robinson role.
He's getting paid like
His chief. That's good.
Points by the Miami Stars today. I think it was 18.
Yeah, 18 on it.
Points by Victor Oladipo.
24.
Wow, we've looked at the box score.
Yeah.
We haven't looked at the box score.
Yeah.
Alright, do you want to plug your podcast?
Nah, my people will call you people.
We do the JVG NBA tribute show. You know how it is. It's on all your favorite podcasting apps.
Rebranding as JVG NBATS.
I was on Triple R on the weekend. You can get that on, on demand or
Yes.
on your audio waves.
King
Whatever.
shit.
I thought it was 3 triple R.
Yeah, that's what you meant to say. I obviously haven't read the employee handbook enough times.
Yeah, you also didn't
I
read
was
the
gonna
callers in handbook because you said some weird shit. Man.
Can we still listen to it?
Yeah, it's on available on demand. Yeah,
No, but I actually do want to
it's triplr.org.au.
The graveyard shift.
I'll listen to it on the way home.
Thanks.
It goes for 2 hours.
It's a long trip home.
Long way back to Phoenix.
Too soon.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, appreciate it, boys.
We were over the moon when we first heard that the NBA was going to be televised on Australian free-to-air TV in the 2019-20 season. It didn't exactly go swimmingly with the nasty cough halting the season and games getting cancelled left, right and centre, but it was a huge step and an exciting one for basketball fans all across the country.
Better yet, it wasn't a commercial channel cashing in on some basketball nerds like us. It was SBS, one of our public broadcasters. Unfortunately, the NBA wasn't the only thing SBS was pushing last season. They also ran advertisements from Sportsbet, Ladbrokes, Bet365, BetEasy, and Neds, some of the biggest sports betting companies in Australia.
In a one step forwards, 2 steps backwards move, SBS has dropped the ball here. As a public broadcaster, SBS plays a key role in providing relevant, culturally appropriate health information to local communities. The last thing SBS should be doing is offering a platform for gambling companies during the most financially unstable time in recent memory.
This past year, men aged 18 to 24 made up 79% of new gambling account holders, with increased median spending and frequency of bets. This is the last thing we should be spending our money on given the financial uncertainty that comes with the pandemic. During COVID lockdowns, wagering companies spent more money on advertising and incentives to gamble, and it worked.
SBS needs to hear from viewers that gambling ad revenue isn't worth the harm it causes. Call on the SBS chair, George Savitas, to put community health ahead of gambling revenue by signing the petition at www.endgamblingads.org.au/get gambling off SBS with hyphens in between.